What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about the altcoin markets right now. Hit that like button, subscribe if you want to see more content like this. I've got the sniffles, I'm sorry. I'm a little bit sick right now, so don't mind me if I'm doing that. We're going to look at the altcoin markets right now using the Bitcoin dominance chart and the others chart as well, which is the crypto total market cap excluding the top 10 cryptos. So no Bitcoin, no BNB, no XRP, no Ethereum, no Solanas, right? No Dogecoin. All your top 10 coins are taken out of the equation when it comes to this. This is your altcoin market cap chart, essentially. So looking at the Bitcoin dominance, I was saying yesterday how, generally speaking, whenever we find our top and we start to move down, we tend to progress rather fast, right? So I was expecting this week to be the beginning of a kind of move up, a breakout point for altcoins across the space. And this week so far is up a little bit. We're up 0.75%. That doesn't sound like a lot, but on this chart, that's a lot, guys. You're up, if you're up 1% or even 0.5% versus the whole crypto market cap, that's a lot of money coming in, right? That is a lot. And this doesn't mean that Bitcoin's up that much. That's just how much it's up in its relevance to dominance, okay? It doesn't look to me as if this week is going the way we expected it to so far, right? We have four days, 9 hours left, so definitely over half a week left. I assume that's more than enough time for this week to turn around and become red. I expect it to actually close larger than last week on the red side, right? Something maybe more like what we saw here, or at the very least something like this, right? Something that's a little bit bigger than this or dramatically bigger than this is going to come this week. And I think we can see that in the charts here. Hold on, guys. Okay. Um, I think we could see that in the charts because on the daily RSI, we've gone up. We bounced off the 50. You double bottomed off the 50, you guys, and then you went up to the 60 and rejected it, right? I love it. And if you've watched my YouTube channel at all, and maybe even today, there's probably been a couple charts where I talk about bouncing off of rejecting the 50 and then bouncing off the 40. That's a really good sign, right? Anytime you reject off the 50, you bounce off the 40, that's a good sign, because generally when you reject off the 50, you expect to go to the oversold zone. Generally, when you bounce off the 50, you expect to go to the overbought zone. But when you bounce off the 50 to the downside and you find support at the 40, that's a good thing. When you're supposed to go lower but you don't, that's a good thing. When you're supposed to go higher but you don't, that's a bad thing. Probably a good thing, though, for crypto, right? Because we're talking about the Bitcoin dominance. So this, if today closes red, you're rejecting off the 60, right? You're likely going to see the price correct more from here. If today closes red, we would see the price, I think, return to, or not the price, the readings, the percentage of the Bitcoin dominance return to levels that are below this low here. And if that happens again by today's red candle close, I would expect by the end of the week, we are at least down in this area, if not below this low at 60%, right? We're at 61.16. I'm talking about by the end of the week, in the next 4 days, Bitcoin dominance will come down a whole nother percent or more. And that might seem insignificant, just a percent or more, but that's a percent. That's 1% out of 100, you guys, of the total crypto market dominance. 1% down for Bitcoin dominance could mean 10% up, 20% up, 30% up for your altcoin. You know what I mean? Like, this is significant stuff. It could mean more for certain coins. So what this is telling us then, if the dominance is going to drop, generally speaking, like 99 out of 100 times, when the dominance drops, it's not because crypto is dropping. It's because Bitcoin's moving up a little bit and altcoins are moving up a little bit more or a lot more. So altcoins are gaining dominance, therefore Bitcoin is losing dominance, right? If that weren't happening, if the dominance were going down and everything was moving down, that would mean Bitcoin is dropping faster than the altcoin markets, and that just doesn't happen. So anytime the dominance drops, we rejoice. It's a good thing. We want that to happen. So talking about this going down, likely not just the altcoin markets, but the Bitcoin price as well would likely pump. Okay, so I like this Bitcoin dominance chart. I like where it's at in the RSI. As long as today closes red, we have 7 hours and 58 minutes left. It's possible it could come back up to the upside. If we look at the 4-hour RSI, you did reject the overbought zone. And rejecting the overbought zone can be rather indicative, right, that you are inevitably going to the oversold zone. It doesn't mean you have to, right? In fact, you actually rejected it a little bit here and then went right up. It doesn't mean you have to, but generally speaking, rejecting the overbought zone does not bode well for things to come. You are in this higher trend. You've got the higher lows here. I didn't know that this was what you're going through. To be completely fair, this makes me think that you could go up. So we've got a little battle going on between the bulls and the bears on the Bitcoin dominance. We hope the bears win. We want this thing to break down to the downside. If it does break out of this downtrend or this uptrend, that would be a signal beyond everything else that I've said. That would also be a signal to the rest of the markets that this thing is going to go down. Altcoins are going to rally. But if we find support here, which it looks like we might do, then it's possible that by the end of today, in the next 8 hours, we could close this thing green. Sorry, guys. Whew. I just don't like my face being on camera when I'm coughing really hard. Oh, it's bad, man. When you live with a family, right? I got my wife and my daughter. When one person gets sick, we all get sick. It's just how it is. Hopefully, we close today red. That's all I got to say. If we close today green, that would leave the door open to not rejecting the 60 and actually going to the overbought zone. And if we're going to the overbought zone, that leaves the door open for Bitcoin to gain 1% from here or more, not lose 1% from here or more. And if Bitcoin gains 1% or more from here, that doesn't necessarily mean altcoins will go down. Just Bitcoin will move up and the rest of the party gets left behind. And if that happens, that would throw off my idea that this week would be the beginning of alt season, or like technically this was the beginning of alt season right back here. But this week I think was really supposed to kick things off and break out. So if this doesn't happen in the next 48 hours, if we don't see some kind of movement down to the downside here, certainly by the end of this week, I would then expect that maybe it would be sometime in March, the first week of March, second week of March, that we begin to turn around, or maybe even the very last week of February. It's very possible, but time will tell. Let's look at the other chart. Okay, we're at $263 billion on the other chart. This is the crypto total market cap. If we look at the low here to the high, you're at your golden ratio zone. This is a perfect area to bounce. This makes you think you're going to go up. So if the dominance were to continue to rise, what this tells me is altcoins are going to rise too. Just likely Bitcoin's going to outperform them. So that's fine, right? And generally, if dominance rises while the market is rising as a whole, whenever that dominance does come down, the market continues to rise. It just rises at a faster pace. So oftentimes, before we do get these dominance drops, we will see that little rise alongside with altcoins and Bitcoin itself. Bitcoin just outperforms the market, and then when Bitcoin chills or it stops outperforming the market, that's when things really take off. So again, just implying that it could be early March, like the first week of March, that we really start to see this thing dip. But I am expecting it to be this week, right? I really do think this week will close red. It would very much comfort me, and it should comfort you too, if today can close red. If today closes red, the odds of this week closing red and potentially going to these lows, if not lower than these lows by the end of the week, the odds go up a lot. If it closes green, the odds go down a lot. Okay, and just because the odds go up or odds go down doesn't mean that anything can't happen, but just telling you, just speaking out loud here. Others chart, bouncing off the golden ratio, you actually found support at the 786, came all the way up and found closed above the golden ratio there. That was a very immaculate bounce. Finding resistance at the 0.5, but continuing to find support here, getting higher lows and everything. I very much do think that you're going to go higher. Your daily RSI looks like it's broken out of this downtrend. Oh, no, it hasn't. It could go lower. But the daily RSI is in this downtrend, lower highs, lower lows. You're getting into the oversold, and you've already gotten into it now. This is generally the time when I would accept that you could break out. It doesn't mean you have to. You could go lower still. And if we saw you go lower, that to me would just be weird. But if you were to go lower, I mean, it could happen. Let's entertain that thought for a second. If we were to go lower, we could see the altcoin markets on average. This would mean that most coins, not all coins, some coins would drop more than 13.5%, some coins would drop less, but the average coin would drop about another 13.5% to potentially a 21% drop, something like that from here. If we were to go to the downside, right? So a 20%, 21% drop, that's kind of the most that we have to worry about. 13% drop at a minimum is what I would worry about, and that would be market wide. So some coins will drop more than that, some coins will drop less than that if we go down. And if we were to go down, I would think we'd probably start going down today. Like, it would be the rest of this week. This week would then be a total opposite of what I expected it to be, right? Dominance would definitely go up if the crypto markets were going down. I just don't think you will. I don't think you will go down, because beyond just the high to low, finding support in the golden ratio here, right? Beyond all of that, if we take this relative low to high, right, relative low to high here, you're being rather constructive in this fib. You're finding support at your 0.5 time and time again. You got above your 236. This is not indicative to me of the behavior that would encourage prices to go lower. It could happen, but if anything, I actually think getting above the 236 like this and staying above it all these times, it makes me think that you are going to go higher from here and going to break out to the upside. The 4-hour RSI also kind of looks like you want to go down. It's kind of a moot point to what I'm saying, but rejecting the 50 and finding support at the 40 would be a good thing. So if you go a little bit lower, just come back up. That's all I'm saying. 1 hour time frame. The 1 hour looks good to go up. So we've got a little bit of confliction. What's the word I'm looking for? Contradictions going on in the charts today. We've got a little bit of contradicting going on here with the Bitcoin dominance and the others chart. At one point or at various points, we could see that the weekly price could come down or the weekly readings on the Bitcoin dominance come down. At some points, we're seeing that it could come up. Same thing with the others chart. So if I had to lean one way or another, I would say that I think that we are moving up, and that's not out of optimism. That's just off of what I truly believe is going on with this range here. I think that we are going to move up. What I truly believe is going on with the Bitcoin dominance, I think we're going to go down. But again, a lot of that can be invalidated over the next 48 hours, depending on how the market reacts. So hopefully we're standing on this ledge and we're not about to fall off it and go down. Hopefully we back off of the ledge a little bit and we start to, I don't know, climb the mountain peak behind us, metaphorically or so. I got nothing else for you guys. I hope you liked the video. If you did, hit the like button, subscribe if you want to see more content like this, okay? Another thing for the others chart here is generally, last time that we were in the oversold zone, we bounced right off it here, and that sent this run up. We just hit this oversold zone here. We just tipped it right. Had a very massive low that went a little bit below it, but we basically found support right here time and time again. We're at the point where we look like we're about to break out of a daily downtrend in the RSI. If we break out of a downtrend, just like we did last time here, right? If we break out of the downtrend, look at what it did to us. We didn't go to the oversold zone this time. We barely went into it this time. I think we are more than adequate to break out of this range and see a phenomenal move up, right? Something much like this would happen, I think, between now and the end of February and going into the end of March. I think something much like this will happen. And actually, let's end on that note. Let's talk about whenever you do move up, where are you going to go? From a high to a low, because I'm not anticipating that you go below this low. You could go lower than this, but I'm not anticipating that you go below that low. From the current readings, the expectation across the board would be that the average altcoin would grow from anything from about 100% to 170%. Is that right? That doesn't sound right. I mean, maybe at a minimum. Let's see. Maybe at the absolute minimum. I don't think so, though, because, right, if you go to the 1272 here off of this relative fib, that puts you at 550 billion. That puts you at new all-time highs across the space on the others chart. So I don't think that you'd find resistance right there. I don't think you'd break out to new all-time highs after consolidating right below them all this time for months. I don't think you'd find resistance there. So likely the 1618 would be the minimum target. That is the 170, 165% growth. If and when you break above that, the only next stopping point would be up here, and that's about a 230% growth across the space, 220% growth across the space. This, truthfully, is what I accept as a minimum target. That's what I would expect more as a minimum target. The maximum target I think I could accept would be up here, and that'd be about a 300% move across the space. So one way or another, guys, whether it's below what I accept as a minimum target, which is at about 160%, okay, 160% move across the space. That'll bring some enlightenment, I guess, some positive vibes, right? Something like that. 200%, a 3x move, 3.5x move, same thing. That'd be nice. And then the maximum potential for the average altcoin would be a 4x, 4.4x, something like that. I don't think that it goes higher by the end of March. Of course, it could, and the more the merrier. The higher this goes up, the higher that even random altcoins will go up, right? Because this is just the average. There will be coins in the same amount of time that do a 10x, that do a 20x, that do more than that, right? There are coins that are going to do dramatically more than this. This is just the average growth. And there will be plenty of coins that do dramatically less than this as well. So I hope that helps. I hope you liked the video. If you did, hit the like button, subscribe. I'll see you on the next one. Take it easy. Bye.